This is Fred Allendale with another tutorial on my new texturing HUD Advanced. And in this example, we will show you how this configuration note card has been set up for the vest and shirt example. So I'll open the config note card here, and the first part of the note card is the same for all of the note cards that you will use. It has basically comment lines that describe what can be put on the note card and what the various options are. We went over this in the last tutorial using the graphic that depicts how the various components work together. Now we're seeing the actual note card, and it's pretty much the same information that was shown in that other graphic. One point I want to make too is that once you set up your note card for a particular HUD, I recommend that you delete all these comment lines, all lines that start with 2 slashes, and also any blank lines. That will make the note card read much faster when you first res or wear the HUD. So we'll scroll down here past all the notes till we get down to the first button. So you can see that the first button, the button name is called Preset Group 1-1. And that actually corresponds to, if I go down here and select this first button in the upper left hand corner, you'll see that its name is Preset Group 1-1. I could have just called this button 1 or my button or whatever you want to name it, but I chose to organize this in groups. So as long as the button name matches something that's on the note card for that button name, it knows that when that button is touched that it needs to execute this set of texturing commands. So following that line, oh, and by the way, you can have comments anywhere after the end of the name. So I recommend you leave a couple of spaces and then put 2 slashes, and then you can put a comment after that to help you remember how what that group of texturing and coloring parameter lines mean. The next line is mesh vest example. That's the target name, so that relates to this target object over here. It means that button will only affect that particular target object with that name. And then there are 4 parameter lines on here. The first parameter is the link number. So this is actually there's only 2 prims in here. One prim is a bogus prim, the root prim that I added so that I'm shown as the owner, which you probably will do with your items on things that you make from templates that somebody else created. It'll show you, I'm sorry, not the owner, but it'll show you as the creator because it's whoever created the root prim. But the only thing that's in that root prim is the actual target script that receives the commands from the HUDs. So because it's a 2 prim object, the link numbers start with 1, and this is link number 2. So the only thing I'm going to be operating on here is link number 2. And then there are 4 faces in there that correspond to the buttons on the vest, the outer vest, and the inner vest, and something else. I'm not sure. Oh, and I think there's a chain here as well. That's the fourth face of this mesh vest. So here they are, the 4 faces, 0, 1, 2, and 3. And this is the texture to apply, and this is the color. In this case, they're all white. Now you'll notice something a little funny looking about this texture UUID. It begins and ends with a $sign. That's an indication that this is actually an encrypted texture. So this is, if I copied and pasted the UUID part out of here and tried to apply that, it would just be a blank texture. It has no resemblance to the UUID of your actual texture. So this shows how you can protect your texture UUIDs even if someone reads your note card in the HUD. So these initial four faces are the same, and then the last face is a different texture. And then you can see this is repeated now for each button. Button name 1-2 has a little different texture applied to three of the faces. The fourth texture is the same. And it goes on down through the balance of the button groups 1 through 5. Then the next two groups are for shirts. So in 2-1, in this case, I just apply it to all of the faces. So because I'm not applying different textures to different faces. So in this case, it will apply whatever texture I have specified here and whatever color to all the faces of that shirt. And there, I believe there's 4 faces. There's a collar and some cuffs and the main part of the shirt. And so each of these goes through and applies a different texture. And the first few are all white, and then the fifth button, this one over here, for example, applies a cyan color. So, and that has the RGB value. I could have written the word cyan in here, but when you see how we use the face finder or the profiler script to get the information, you can see that you will actually get the RGB values from those scripts. Here's a few things where I put the standard color names in, just red, yellow, blue, green, magenta. And then the last section, groups 4, are the ones that actually color both items, the shirt as well as the vest at the same time. So in this case, you will see that the mesh vest example, here's the coloring and texturing for it, and then I added a target name mesh shirt example, and there's the coloring for that. So if you have multiple objects, you just put in a new target name and a new set of parameters for each object before you get to the next button. So that last row of 5 apply different colors and textures to both the objects. And then this last group, which is the user specified buttons, for those I apply some standard textures to the items, but I designate the color as coming from the color picker, and then the other faces I designate as no colors to apply. And so whichever face I want to add, for example, this first face takes the color picker color from and applies it to one of the vest buttons, and then does nothing to the chain, the outer vest, or the inner vest. And then this next group, button 2, now applies the picker color to the outer vest. And then the third group applies the picker color to the inner vest. And then finally the last group applies the picker color to all the prims of the shirt. And so you can see how that works here. There's the outer vest, the inner vest, the shirt. If I pick a different color, I can change the shirt color, the inner vest color, the outer vest color, and the buttons, which you can't really see. This probably isn't the best example, but it serves the purpose here for you to understand at least how it works. I'm sure your creations will be much more artistic than mine. So that walks you through how this particular example is set up and how it's on the note card. Hopefully that will help you see how to set up your own configuration note card for your own objects. This concludes this tutorial. Thank you again for purchasing the Texturing HUD Kit Advanced.